Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. We got David Schwartz interview at Consensus, and you're going to love every single bit of it. Large institutions and credit unions are coming, and they're bringing trillions of dollars to crypto, plus all new developments. You're going to want it all. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on digperspectives.com on Twitter and YouTube, and digperspectives.com on the website. I messed all of that up. How many times have I been doing this? You can follow us at Dig Perspectives on Twitter, YouTube, and digperspectives.com. There we go. $2.67 trillion market cap for crypto. The market's off by 0.9%. Bitcoin, 68,000 plus, 3,700 plus for Ethereum, 112 billion plus market cap for crypto. Number 8 spot is XRP at 52 cents. We're off by 1.3 in the 24 and off by 1.2 on the 7-day. The range of price is between 53 and 52 cents. We'll keep an eye on it. I want to take you right now and remind everybody that the best private equity in the world is at Link 2, ladies and gentlemen. And if you haven't done it, and I know there's a lot of you to hear my voice, you're on your way to work, and when you remember it, it's too late at the end of the day, or I don't have time because I got to get to work and start working. I get all of that, but it only takes a few minutes. Literally, I'm not talking about 20 minutes. I'm talking about 3 minutes, 5 minutes, tops. You can sign up, register, and fund your account. It is that super easy. 410 million plus invested on the platform, and I don't have to tell you that there's remarkable companies like Ripple, Circle, Uphold, and some of these are not available because you waited too long, but a lot of these still are. So why would you wait any longer? Click the link to my sponsor below and get started today. Now let's get to this. Oh boy, it's David Schwartz, and he's on fire at Consensus. Shout out to Rachel Wolfson, who also sat and interviewed him on stage at XRP Las Vegas 24. We're going to start it right here where he starts talking about new developments and things he's excited about on the XRP ledger, and obviously he starts with stable coins. Let's talk about this.
Okay, can you explain a little bit more about what the new developments are exactly?
Well, so a good example is Ripple launching a stablecoin. So the stablecoin is regulated. It's launched pursuant to licensing that Ripple has. It's one-to-one backed with US dollars. And Ripple has to go through, know your customer and anti-money laundering for any time we issue or redeem. But people will be able to obtain the stablecoin like on dexes and through exchanges, and they may be able to transact with it in DeFi applications that are censorship resistant and that are decentralized. And the vision is more products like that. So another example would be real world asset tokenization, where these are regulatory compliant products that are securities on blockchains, but they can be used as collateral in DeFi protocols. So I might have Apple stock and someone is lending me money against that stock, and the stock is provided by a regulatory compliance system, but the lending system is a DeFi application. So it's this idea of bridging regulatory compliant institutional use cases with these DeFi use cases that can't really be tied to a jurisdiction, can't really be tied to those strict regulatory compliance policies in ways that all work together on a public blockchain like the XRP.
So are any institutions utilizing this just yet?
There are a lot of institutions. Well, stablecoin's a good example. There are many stablecoins that are issued in just this way. There are a lot of tokenized securities today that are available. There's like tokenized U.S. Treasuries. There are some companies working. Zonix, for example, one of our partners, is working on tokenizing real-world assets. So it's happening. It's happening gradually.
When you say tokenizing real-world assets, can you be a little bit more specific? Are there specific assets that Ripple is focusing on when it comes to tokenization?
Well, obviously, the stablecoin tokenized is a U.S. dollar, which is a real-world asset, right? There'll be treasuries, or there'll be like literal U.S. dollars, one-for-one backing it. With these securities, there may be specifically treasuries where there's a yield that's delivered to the holder through a regulated product, where the holders probably can't be anonymous; they have to onboard. But those things will still be connected to DeFi applications.
Got it. Okay. Does the Ripple stablecoin have a name yet?
We will be announcing that at Apex.
Okay. Good to know. Any other new developments developments that you spoke about here at Consensus, or anything that we need to know about?
Well, we've announced a couple of other strategies for the XRP ledger. One of them is oracles, which are another example. Like the oracles themselves tend to be regulated institutions. Some of them are DeFi projects, but they enable DeFi applications that are sort of jurisdictionless, like collateralized lending. You can't do collateralized lending if you don't know the value of the collateral. We've also started to talk about a proposal for what we call multi-purpose tokens, which are, so the XRP ledger has fungible tokens that are great for things like stablecoins, and it has non-fungible tokens that are great for things like collectibles. But there's sort of like an in-between for things like carbon credits, where they're sort of fungible and like one carbon credit is a lot like another. So you probably don't want like NFTs for them, but they're not really fungible because they're issued like against different projects that may have different regimes, and so you have like lots and lots of assets. Concert tickets are another thing. They're sort of fungible, but they're sort of not because seats are different, and you don't want 0.997 of a concert ticket. Like, how do we let you in? Or what if we have 100 people that each have 99% of a concert ticket? Like, what do we do? And so these multi-purpose tokens can have regulatory compliance information attached to the token, but they can also have properties that are between non-fungible tokens and fungible tokens that allow you to address these other use cases without kind of bashing a square peg into a round hole.
Okay, and that was just announced today, the multi-purpose function.
I think the first announcement was either in our blog post or in my talk a couple hours ago, both of which I think were today. Yeah.
What do you think in terms of the regulatory space when it comes to things like tokenization of real-world assets and just other things that we tokenize? Do you think we're starting to see kind of progress being made on the regulatory side to enable this?
Yeah, I think big institutions that have the wherewithal to go through, even in very heavy jurisdictions like the United States, where it's very challenging, the EU, where it's challenging to launch these products, large institutions have really come to believe that there's going to be tens of trillions of dollars in real-world assets tokenized, and they don't want to let somebody else beat them to it. And so we're seeing a lot of interest from like tier one banks and very large institutions that have said, like, we're going to have to figure out a way to do this. And obviously, they're going to have to be strict regulatory compliance. These probably won't be assets that like anonymous accounts can hold, but you may be able to do things like borrow against them that will kind of again bridge that gap between the, because if it's completely regulated, then only people who onboard with the issuer can use them. There's really no advantage to them being on a public ledger. But we think that even those things can tie into DeFi applications in useful ways.
Right. And I just read a great article about credit unions using tokenization for loans and everything. So apparently credit unions, the regulator, he's here, and he's very open to blockchain and tokenization. So we may see it first with credit unions and then maybe larger banks?
I hope so, because there's a lot of people who don't have access to good ways to produce yield, low-risk ways to produce yield. And these types of loans, they're great for the people who borrow the money. They can be tax efficient, they can be a way to like juice a little more return. That's not super exciting to me, though. What is exciting is people who might have to like stuff money in their mattress will be able to provide pools of liquidity that will back these loans and get a yield that are reasonably low risk in a way that's like it's like an open system that's accessible to people who are very underserved by the existing financial system. So that's exciting to me.
Right. Any other upcoming announcements from Ripple that we can talk about or that we can expect maybe at Apex coming up in June in Amsterdam?
So we have a whole bunch of announcements planned for Apex, including announcements around the stablecoin partnerships, but they'll fire me if I tell you anything. Sorry.
Okay, so we'll just have to wait. David, any final thoughts or remarks before we end our interview? Anything that you're really excited about?
I'm unreasonably excited about the automated market maker feature, just because that's something that's near and dear to my heart, because I've been working on trading algorithms and volatility harvesting and those kinds of things for a long time. It's exciting, to see those things happen. And I'm also excited to share what I think is a coherent vision for how we can grow. Like if you look at how the internet grew, there was institutional adoption, there was government and military adoption, and that went hand in hand with sort of bottom-up adoption to make a compelling ecosystem. And I think like this vision to do that with blockchain, it's just really exciting. There's been a lot of people working on the sort of bottom-up growth for a long time, which is like, but that really only appeals to people who are technologists, who are really willing to get their hands dirty in the tech. Mass adoption is going to take a mixture of institutional adoption and grassroots adoption. It's exciting to see like the industry kind of turning that corner.
For sure.
Absolutely it is. And so well said by David Schwartz, and great job by Rachel Wolfson. I want to remind everybody of this clip right here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to it and cue it up. It's right here. Look, take a listen.
Pull really quickly here. Listen to this.
Yeah, at that time, so that was probably mid to late 2011, sort of two cracks were emerging in the Bitcoin narrative, such as it was at the time. Obviously, the narrative was, most of the people were technical enthusiasts. They were very interested in the technological end, and they weren't as savvy about like how to drive adoption. The only strategy that anyone could think of was a grassroots strategy. And that's not how the internet got adopted, right? The internet was adopted by government and military first. So it's
That's a key point.
It sure is. And he's still making that point today. And the point that he made about the idea, understanding that, the grassroots movement really engages technologists, developers, and builders, which is exciting. But you're going to need a mix of both. And this is why I'm glad that that narrative that has been established, that false narrative that it's just one-sided, doesn't work. And David admits it right here. It takes everybody. Look, there's a saying for it. It takes a village. And it does. And you know what? The institutional part of that village is about to get in this game, because David also leaned into the idea large institutions will be bringing trillions into this space. And he talked about the idea that regulated institutions are essentially oracles, which will be a new thing coming as a feature to the XRP ledger as well. So think of it. How are you going to have these oracles unless these regulated institutions start participating on the XRP ledger? It's coming, and it's coming in a big way, ladies and gentlemen. I couldn't be more excited. Oh my goodness. What a great conversation right here. Shout out to both of them for that, and shout out to all of you for tuning in. I'm going to cut it right there so you guys can enjoy this, and I'll catch all of you on the next one. Not financial advice from me or anyone else.